New York State suing Donald Trump and his kids over the actions of the Trump Foundation. We'll take a look at the allegations, the president's response, and whether or not the state has a case. Also, immigration frustration. Republicans cannot agree on a bill scheduled as early as next week to be voted on. The president supporting hardline approach likely won't get through Congress, breaking promises left and right along the way. Several 100,000 dreamers, though, don't know what their future holds. Also, Justice Department just releasing a report on the FBI probe of Hillary Clinton's private email server. We'll look at the findings and the fallout. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French, and thank you for joining us this Thursday night. We begin this evening with a major lawsuit involving the President of the United States and his adult kids. New York attorneys general filing the suit saying there was illegal conduct at the family's personal foundation. President's immediately responding on where else but Twitter, saying, quote, the sleazy New York Democrats and their now disgraced AG, Eric Schneiderman, are doing everything they can to sue me on a foundation that took in nearly $19 million and gave out to charity more money than it took in. I don't settle this case. Schneiderman, who ran the Clinton campaign in New York, never had the guts to bring this ridiculous case, which lingered in the office for almost 2 years. Now, he resigned his office in disgrace, and his disciples brought it when he would not settle. Okay, I should say here, the president said he would never settle the Trump University fraud case also, but as we've told you many times in this program, he did just that to the tune of $25 million and a whole lot of other suits. He did settle, even though that was the stated practice, never to. The AG is asking a judge to dissolve the foundation, distribute the $1 million it has left to other charities, and pay nearly $3 million in fines, as well as restitution. The suit claims the foundation so disorganized, the board of directors hadn't met in 19 years, and the treasurer didn't even know that he sat on the board. Suit also claims the foundation shelled out money for some of Trump's personal causes. That includes the $10,000 for this portrait of who else but Trump himself that was hanging at the bar at Trump's Doral Golf Resort. You always want to see that when you have a cold one. Suit also claims the foundation paid $158,000 to settle a lawsuit for a man who was denied $1 million for a hole-in-one tournament at the Trump Club. Shame on you. And the foundation also was caught giving $25,000 to a campaign group connected to the Florida Attorney General, Pam Biondi. It is illegal to use charitable funds for political contributions. And by the way, Biondi was considering whether or not to investigate fraud allegations at Trump University, but coincidentally or not, she decided after the contribution not to pursue the case. Let's bring in our panel. Richard Brodsky, former Democratic New York State Assemblyman from Westchester, also professor at NYU and a one-time candidate to be the New York State Attorney General. Conservative strategist Bill O'Reilly and Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. Okay, I start with you, Barrister. Is this, as Trump says, sour grapes, or would the AG not bring this unless there was really compelling information?
If they have the evidence to establish their allegations, which would be strange if they didn't, then the charity should be dissolved and the funds distributed to good causes. The charity was a front for Trump's personal business and political operations, are the allegations. The evidence is strong. You cannot let this stuff happen, and they're going to win. There's going to be either a settlement or a victory. The foundation will be dissolved, and the monies will be distributed to good causes.
Bill, for any of us involved in any charitable foundations or know how they work, there's no gray area here. You know, if you set up here, the funds you take in, there are some administrative expenses here, okay? You have to justify them, you have to document them and everything else. But then the money goes to the charity for what it's supposed to. It's not for buying portraits or to be giving campaign contributions, for crying out loud, or stiffing people, you know, when they go, what? I mean, this isn't for people on the outside like, oh, this is just a little paperwork gone bad. This is bad.
Yeah, I bet he settles. You know, I mean, it looks pretty strong, as Richard said. It's a very good unit up there. I bet he settles. He's fortunate that this is civil. It's not a criminal charge. They could pay a fine and have this go away, but it looks pretty strong.
I have a question I want to ask Richard, which is President Trump noted the political affiliations of Eric Schneiderman, suggesting that Schneiderman's attempt to prosecute him on this or go after him on this was politically motivated. Any political motivations from Barbara Underwood as the new Attorney General? Is that a logical argument?
I think he refers to her as a disciple in the sense of devil's disciple.
She inherited the case.
Yeah, well, she inherited the investigation. Look, that kind of woofing, which Trump has made into an art form, has little consequence when they get in front of a judge. The judge will look at the evidence and decide whether or not the laws were violated. This is not a question of where as Richard says, where the allegations are. This is where the allegations, if proven, are clear, unequivocal, and serious violations of the law.
If it doesn't get settled and this goes to trial, can discovery open up a whole other boxes of stuff here that we haven't talked about yet?
They don't need the Attorney General doesn't need discovery. They already have subpoena power. They have used that, I believe, in this case. So there's enough here to hang 3 foundations. They'll get 1 foundation.
And I'm not trying to be cute, but this is the purview of the Attorney General's office. How does it go on that long? How do they miss that?
Well, there are 2 answers to that. The first answer is it takes a while to do these investigations. And the second thing is you are cute.
I was going with
an honest question. They're going back years
I
on these
object
things.
to that last point.
But Andrew, maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, but the pattern this fits of what he did to those kids and people at Trump U, what he did with those, apartments or condos, in Baja, the amount of people that the promises and the delivery, there's a chasm in between, and you're screwing people over to either feather your wallet or to put a $10,000 portrait up over the bar.
It's all incredibly petty, and it's not like he doesn't have the resources, or at least claim to have the resources to do all these things anyway if he wanted to, and to do them the right way. I think my favorite is the hole-in-one guy, he's in a charity golf tournament, hits a hole-in-one, he's supposed to get this reward, and they're like, yeah, you know what, the tee box is a little too close to the green, so it doesn't
Let me,
count.
as the golfer at the table, they set up the tee boxes. Yeah. So when the course sets it up, there's a certain yardage you have to be to qualify. They set the tee boxes up. They put up the sign, you win $1 million. They clearly knew what they were doing.
There's also an insurance policy typically on
They
it. Right.
clearly hustled everybody because they were trying to save the money on this. I mean, the consciously be so cheap.
But then on top of that, they get caught and use the foundation to pay the fine or pay the guy off, as opposed to
in some sense, you're not beating a dead horse, because for all the idiocy, for all the humor about it, for all the smiling, this is about the rule of law. This is about whether rules apply to Donald Trump. And the great unifying theme of his private life, his personal life, his business life, and his political life is the rules don't apply to him.
And I don't
Look at Brodsky putting a bow on
I don't know the answer to this, but did he get a tax break on the money he gave to his foundation? Like, did he claim that as?
Yes.
So there might be tax fraud
to
in
the
this
extent
too.
he gave any, which we don't know.
Yes. But it's a nice portrait. All right, coming up next, the report Republicans have been waiting for, it came down today. Taking a look at Comey's handling of the Hillary Clinton email probe. It is a dud by most accounts, and it shows Comey was either doing his job or not doing it well. Or does the report also say it gave the GOP even more fodder to go after the former FBI chief? We'll get into all that straight ahead.